you doing? It's Michelle with The Singing Baker. I'm back today with another fun appetizer. Today we're traveling to Italy and I'm making some mini caprese pizzas. They are delicious. They have fresh mozzarella, some tomatoes, fresh basil, a little bit of balsamic glaze on there. You're gonna like them. All right, so this is a fun one. You can basically make it any night of the week. It's a nice fun dish to add to your repertoire. It's really easy and you can have it any night of the week. It's also a fun addition to the buffet table or just a snack when you're having a few people over as well. So go ahead and take a snapshot of all the ingredients just to go through them. We are using store-bought pizza dough. If you enjoy making your own fresh dough, go for it. For this one, I'm just using the store-bought. It's a little bit faster and easier and a little bit busy lately. You'll also need some all-purpose flour, and that is to roll out the dough. Some cooking oil spray. We're going to be spraying down our pan. I'm also using my favorite garlic flavored pizza sauce, as well as some fresh mozzarella. And I like to get the ball of fresh mozzarella. It's usually in like the deli section of the grocery store. We're also going to be using some cherry or grape tomatoes. And then we have shredded mozzarella, as well as fresh basil. And to finish off, we're going to be drizzling balsamic glaze in there. I just love balsamic. So stay tuned in and we're going to get started here. So I am just prepping my ingredients. I'm letting my dough rest. The first step I did was to take the dough out of the packages from the store, and I threw some flour down on my countertop here and I just rolled it out. You basically roll it into a nice ball, just knead it a little bit, and then you let it rest. And I've had this resting for maybe 40 minutes or so. I'm going to give it a few more minutes, sometimes up to an hour if you can wait that long for it. And then while it's resting, you go ahead and prep all your ingredients. So I usually like to measure everything ahead of time so that I can just throw it together. What I'm going to be doing is cutting up my basil here. When you're cutting your basil, make sure not to bruise the leaves too much, so just be really gentle with the leaves. And seeing that these are mini pizzas, you don't want huge chunks of basil, so make sure you do chop your basil pretty small. So I'm going to be doing that. Then I'm going to go to my mozzarella, my fresh mozzarella, and I'm going to be slicing this up into small slices, and the same with my tomatoes. So just going to go ahead and get all of that done and prepped, and then by the time I'm finished, I will be ready to start working on my dough. It is a great night when I can bring Italy into the kitchen. I just love Italy. It's one of my favorite places that I have visited throughout my life. So when I can bring it into my kitchen, it just brings back all those fun, beautiful memories that I have. Just the people are very nice there. Family's very big. They're big into their culture. Food obviously is a huge part of Italian culture. So it is really nice memories when I think about Italy. My husband also really loves pizza, so he's always happy to have another pizza night. So, and when you can make it fresh in your kitchen, it just tastes beautiful. So definitely try this one. And then when you start to make pizzas at home, just play around with the ingredients. This one happens to be a caprese style. But obviously you can change up the ingredients and just put, lots of different combinations in there. So I'm going to go ahead and continue the slicing of my tomatoes, and then I'm going to move to my mozzarella, the fresh mozzarella, and then I'm going to get that sliced up. So I'll just continue there and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes. Okay, so I have prepped all my ingredients and I've let my dough rest for almost an hour at this point. And what I did originally, I took them out of the package and I rolled it out with some flour on the counter, and then I separated them into 2 large balls like this. So now I'm going to take the large balls and I'm going to split each one into 6. So that we're going to have 6 and 6, so we'll fill up our muffin tin pan. So this is what I'm using, same pan that you would make muffins in. And then the little pizzas will be that size. So I'm going to go through now, just basically cut each circle in half. And then I'm going to take each section here and spread it, cut it into thirds. So basically each circle that we had is going to be turned into 6 pieces. So then we're going to take these little balls of dough and make it as round as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to press it down into each section of the muffin tin. And I actually took my muffin tin and sprayed it with some olive oil spray. So that's definitely a must, just to help them not stick. So I'm just going to spread this out a little bit, and I'm going to go through and do this with all of them and fill it up. And then once we are done with filling all of our muffin tins with the dough, then we'll start to add the ingredients. So I'm going to keep going with all of these, and then we will start filling them in a few minutes here. Okay, so I am just trying to go through all of my pizza doughs now and just keep the sides up as much as possible. When you do this, you're going to have a little bit of the sides just falling down on you, so just try to keep them up as much as you can until you start getting all the toppings in there. So I'm going to go through and start filling them now. I have the oven preheated to 425. And we're going to start filling all of our pizzas now. Okay, so the first step is to put a little bit of mozzarella. So I'm going to put a couple slices in each one. And I'm going to go down basically like an assembly line here. It's easier that way if you just do all the same ingredients and go down the line and do all 12 at once. So first step is all of our mozzarella. You're doing a couple slices in each one, and this is the fresh mozzarella that we cut up earlier into slices. I'm putting the mozzarella on the bottom, and the reason that you do that, you don't put the sauce first, because the sauce will actually it'll get your dough too soggy on the bottom. So the mozzarella is actually a little bit of a barrier, if you will, so that the rest of the ingredients can go in. So almost done with my mozzarella. Then we'll put in a little teaspoon of our garlic sauce, followed by the tomatoes. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. And then the notification bell, if you hit that, it'll alert you when I am posting a new video. Okay. Alright, so I've got all my fresh mozzarella in there. I'm going to go through a little teaspoon of my garlic sauce in each one. Just going to go down the line. One right after another. So steps for this: fresh mozzarella slices, garlic sauce, a little bit of tomatoes, little sprinkle of basil, and basically you're going to add one more mozzarella slice and then maybe a little bit more basil. Then we're going to sprinkle it with the shredded mozzarella at the very end. And if you have any more basil, you can certainly sprinkle a little bit more on at that point. And then we are going to add a little bit of our balsamic before we get it in the oven. And then we're going to put it in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. You're just looking for it to get a nice golden brown and a little bit crispy on the edges. So I'm going to continue with this and assemble all of them and get them baking in the oven. Here we go. So I've finished all of my toppings. I have filled my muffin tin tray here with little pizzas, and we're going to just set it in the oven for, like I said before, 12 to 15 minutes or so. Just kind of keep an eye on it once you get to about the 12-minute mark, and just kind of take it out as soon as it looks a nice golden brown and it's a little bit crispy on the edges. So, and then once I take it out of the oven, I'm actually going to leave it for a few minutes. You want to let it sit for just a few minutes. It'll just be piping hot, so just let it rest for a little bit before you dig in. Okay, so it's time to eat. I took it out of the oven. I let it sit for a little bit, just a few minutes, so it's not piping hot when you're trying to take a bite. But they're really delicious. Actually, I'm going to drizzle a tiny bit more balsamic, because I can't ever have too much balsamic glaze on there. Just love it. Little drizzle on all of these, and as you can see, it just looks gorgeous on the plate as well. And then the mozzarella has melted nicely. The tomatoes are nice and warm. I also like to put the teensiest bit of fresh basil on here as well. We did put basil inside, as you remember, but that has now been cooked through. So I'm just putting a little bit of the freshness of the chopped basil on the very top just to finish it off. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Give me some ideas of something you might want to see for a video later. And until next time, I'll see you later. Make sure you make this one.